This ACC Preview Part 2 edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up to 325 times your entry with their new Pick 8. Sign up with SGPN to claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get the best data-driven props and picks from Rhythm. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Hey folks, this is Bud Foster. You're listening to SGPN. Let's let it ride. Go Hokies, man.
Cox.
He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
Welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kram?
Dog.
Well, now we're talking some real football teams with a chance to win the national championship.
Wow, Ryan joining us as always to talk college football conference previews. Colby Dant, aka Pick Dundee. What's happening, Colby?
Ready to talk Athletic Coast Conference football?
Whoa,
I like that. I
I'm
like
ready
that
to
too.
talk
That was
all Coast Conference.
well. What we didn't really go into it because I mean we already have had deep debates around the Big 10, Big 12, and of course the SEC. Do you think the ACC changes its name? Does it have a sponsor? What are we thinking here?
If they don't get a sponsor, the league will not work.
Wow. Why don't you think the league will work, Colby?
Because the Big 12 is going to do their deal, and the Big 12 will have a gigantic gap then over the ACC, and the ACC will then get their teams plucked by the Big 12. The ACC needs to make sure, no matter what, that they're staying parallel to the Big 12 and they should just want more money.
What was that original plan where they had a handshake?
The alliance.
The alliance.
Yeah.
What was it, like 4 conferences?
No, Pac-12, ACC, Big 10.
Yeah,
How'd that work out for the Pac-12?
Looking at you,
Pac-12 was like, we had a handshake agreement.
Big 10, real crook. I mean, for people that were all high and mighty a couple of years back, we all remember when we were canceling football. For them to just murder the Pac-12,
Yeah, exactly.
I guess it's different when it's far away land and you can benefit from it. Interesting. Interesting. Don't see where the missile lands.
That's
Big
why
10.
Team SEC all day. Team Big 10.
I am starting to feel that way. The Big 10 tries to act like they're better
That's
than
what I'm
everyone,
saying.
but they're the same as the
snobby
SEC.
little bitches.
The SEC is like,
yeah.
fuck you. Look at me. I'm rich.
Yeah.
Like the SEC has a moat. The Big 10 would pretend like they don't have a
SEC
moat.
is who they are. I can appreciate the authenticity in that. The Big 10 is always like they're snotty little bitches. You know what I mean?
Oh,
They're like,
man,
we won't
this is
play in
excellent.
COVID now, and then it's like the rest of the country's playing. And they're like, yeah, we're gonna play.
I remember that how they changed the rules so Ohio just to make sure that everything would be up on the up and up for Ohio State to make it through.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
all of a sudden we don't have
Yeah.
a minimum number of games played.
Yeah, we're okay. They're in.
Yep.
They're in. No, the Big 10 to me, and to me, like at least the SEC teams, they actually have been good. The Big 10 has so much dead weight too. It's like for a conference that says they're so powerful, it's like Minnesota hasn't won since the fucking 40s. You know what I mean? Like Purdue has never won.
So the
ACC
ACC
Fleck is right here.
So the ACC is called what next season?
There, let's go with the Waffle House conference. Right?
I would be awesome, and you would be allowed to fight if you like maybe they would have if there's going to be a player fight, they have like a sideline area where they push them into a Waffle
What else
House.
is that like NASCAR? Like because whatever's on a NASCAR jacket, because that's North Carolina, Virginia, South Carolina, Florida, all
Cracker
there.
Barrel? Come on, the Cracker Barrel Conference.
Yeah.
This is
that would make a lot of sense.
this is right. This is Cracker Barrel country.
I mean, you could probably do Hooters too.
The problem is Stanford really throws off the.
All right, here's
the rest of the
who we
ACC
got
vibe.
in terms of headquarters in the area around Charlotte, which would probably be the most likely outcome. Bank of America. Oh, that banks like to spend money on this kind of thing. Imagine closing a deal. You're a bit like a executive at Bank of America, and you close the deal to make it the B of ACC.
Well, that one makes sense because your championship game's at Bank of America Stadium.
You just stepped all over my B of ACC.
Yeah, it's right there.
Perfect.
Yeah.
B of ACC.
Right?
I mean, it's coming.
I think we figured it out. We only had to go to one company. All right.
Easy enough.
So strangely enough, the breakup of this conference by alphabetical order left a lot of the contenders in part one, but here we are on the B side, as Colby calls it. And we're starting with Colby's favorite team,
the Pussy Pack,
the NC State Wolfpack, aka Pussy Pack.
Remember?
Hopefully, you know to do different things with a wolf and a pussy. Colby, 6-2 in conference last year, 9-3 overall. Now they sit at 8-5. I've heard a lot of people say, you know, Dave Doran's got a good bunch of football players this year. -135 to the over, +110 to the under, 6-1 to win the conference, just like Louisville. So honestly, side by side, give me Louisville all day. 470 to make the playoff, -700 to miss, 100 to 1 to win the college football championship. Don't we just? I mean, doesn't NC State do the same thing every year?
Well, yeah. I mean,
come on,
I was surprised on the college baseball experience that I think, you know, not the show for the college baseball World Series on this.
You talking baseball, right? We're talking football.
Well, you guys, I think, might have took NC State. You didn't know about the Pussy Pack's history. They might have a nice little run.
Oh no!
But they're now winning nothing. All right.
No.
So to get to the Final Four.
That's true.
In women's and men's. Yes.
Yeah, that was a great. And then they lost.
If you're not first,
you're last. Yeah.
But then they went to Omaha, did nothing. So, but this team has brought in. The hype is real. Grayson McCall, he no longer pisses teal. Remember last year he said he was coming back to Coastal Carolina instead of Auburn because he pisses teal. Well, now he decided to take a big check there in Raleigh, but they're going all in, man. And
he's gonna piss red though. That's not good.
As much as I want to talk shit about the Pussy Pack, I do appreciate them going all in because this is by far the best roster that he's had. They went out in the portal, got Jahad Carter, the safety from Ohio State. They brought in Jordan Waters from Duke, who was a stud running back for them.
Play the Benedict music.
Hollywood Smothers, right?
He's over on NC State. You hear this motherfucker?
I'm selling it.
Ever since that photo came out of him rocking the NC State gear, it's been a different man.
But Big Bird Grayson McCall doesn't piss teal anymore. That's a big step for me. The schedule is really the reason. What's the win total out here?
Well, as I just mentioned, it was at 8.5, slight juice to the over. So the adjustment is 8.75.
So the schedule
9-3, they got to go.
They have the Catamounts. Shout out to Weehawk, who's a big Catamount fan to open the season.
He does a very nice job with his photographs, and he's got one of those backyards that makes people jealous.
Yeah, got a couple Great Pyrenees too. I see all that shit.
When you can make fire and enjoy college football at the same time.
Sean, what do you think of the Great Pyrenees?
What is it, a dog?
Yeah,
they're fine.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't pick one up.
Yeah. You know,
what are the chances of you getting a Great Pyrenees at some point?
I gotta try and visualize.
There was a 50-50 chance Sean was going to mention.
Oh, they're those massive. I didn't realize these were
huge dogs.
Yeah.
I mean, there is that moment like, hey, can I still take this dog if things go wrong? The Great Pyrenees. Also, I don't want to pick up shits the size of a football. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like
that is
40, 50 pound dog is plenty of dog.
Yeah.
Maybe you get 60, 70, but you don't need a dog. I mean, God bless people who have them, but you don't need 100-pound dog.
A friend of ours used to have a large bulldog. And it was like anything more than a handful. It's like, what the fuck am I doing here?
And if you're picking up shits the size of a football, chances are you're playing for NC State. Because look,
like what you did.
How did they not ever get to an ACC championship? Wake's been to 2 ACC championships.
Why?
You know what I mean?
Wait, so is this the twist? This is the you're turning around now?
Well, the schedule. They get the Catamounts. Okay, then they get a game in Charlotte, a neutral site game against Tennessee.
Is it neutral?
That'll be 50-50.
And also, it's the Duke's Mayo Classic. We went over this in pre-production. You were going to say Duke's Mayo.
Yeah, but I got Tennessee winning that one, and then La Tech is horrible.
I've heard there won't be a Mayo bath. That's only for the postseason.
Yeah, that's only for the postseason. They're at Clemson after that. You would think there'll be dogs there, so that's 2 losses. Home to Northern Illinois. That's Dave Doran's old school.
Northern Illinois keeps a good program though.
They do. They beat Georgia Tech. What was last year or the year before? Home Home to Wake Forest. Those games are always wacky. Home to Syracuse. Nice schedule. And then this is the one. This everyone's going to be saying NC State's going to the ACC championship, and then they go. Carolina. No, they go to Cal.
Oh,
they're losing that game to Cal, dude.
Oh yeah, I already had that game as a loss.
Okay, so that's ACC loss number 2. The third loss for the season. Then they get a bye week, home to Stanford, then home to Duke, then another bye week, and then at Georgia Tech and at North Carolina. You're right.
Stretching a bit to get to 4 losses.
Carolina is going to be the one to do this to them.
But that's still only 3 losses.
No, what are you talking about? Tennessee, Clemson. Cal.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
3 conference losses.
And then they're no longer in the. But honestly, the schedule is very nice for NC State. If you are an NC State fan, you should believe that you can win the ACC.
Got them right where we want them.
But
got them right where we want them. Message.
But I know you're the pussy pack. All right,
come on. You got.
So I will take the under on the pussy pack,
and you're getting plus odds. Come on, under 8.5 all
Let's
day.
Go. 8-4.
Plus Cal's coming off the corpse of Narduzzi that week, so
Kramer.
I assume he's dead at this point.
Assume you're on the over.
Oh, not on NC State. No, I've learned my lesson with NC State. They will find a way to choke. 8-4. I like how we worked it out there. Plus 110's a nice little bonus.
Update on Kramer's unders: 3 overs, 7 unders.
For what, this conference?
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to put out a final graphic for all the Power 4 conferences. Maybe plus the Mountain West Pac-2 schools as well. All right, honorary ACC team, Notre Dame. That I think they played how many games in conference last year?
I think they normally play 7, right? Every year.
That's right, 7. That's why I have a conference record here: 5-2 against ACC schools last year. 9-3 overall. Why are they just not in the conference?
Well, once again, if we're going to have a conversation about snobby,
10.5 is the win total. Wow. Plus 140 to the over, minus 170 to the under, minus 170 to make the playoff, plus 140 to miss, 22-1 to win the national championship. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Explain their playoff path, Colby. It's the
most easiest.
Yeah, they just.
No, but I mean, like, what's the? Obviously, they don't have a chance to get an auto bid, but
they can get the auto bid, but they don't. Not the bye week. Not the bye week. So they can never get the bye week because they can't. They're not a conference that can't play a championship game.
I got to be honest. This feels like the kind of thing that they were like the person they were negotiating with thought they got something in the negotiation, and Notre Dame was like, home game in the place.
Yeah, because Notre Dame gets.
Can you imagine
they get like the Dallas Cowboy treatment or the Duke basketball treatment, where like they're. Even when they're not that good, when you watch them, they still will be ranked way higher. Than
night game, a special night game at Notre Dame Stadium.
Oh, I can't wait for that. I think that's going to be so great for college football. But I mean, how great is this schedule? You have obviously the tough opener, which I do think they will lose. But after that, first off, how many? They only play 3 real road games, 3 college campus road games.
Well, I like how you do that.
Well, because the Georgia Tech game's bullshit. They're gonna have all their fans there. That'll be they Georgia Tech's.
They don't have the biggest football following fan base, right?
Notre Dame fans travel. They will go to that game. There's no way. So all this team has to do is really just win one of the tough games, which the tough games are at Texas A&M, home to Florida State, and at USC. The rest are trash. With the exception of Louisville, right?
Yeah.
Everyone else, look, Northern Illinois. What they do last year? They were losing record, I believe, right? I think they were 5-7, if memory serves me correct.
What throws me off is the ranking. This feels like the kind of season that Notre Dame finds a way to shit the bed. Or when's the last time Notre Dame has not fallen short when expectations were there?
Yeah, it
feels like it's been a very long time, and you have a young coach.
7 of the 12 matchups against teams with losing records last year.
Yeah, no, I mean the schedule suggests that they could.
Could they lose 2 games? Of course.
Yes.
Look at this schedule.
Wait, the win total is 10.5, right?
Yeah.
But I'm saying to make the playoff, 10-2, they're in.
Oh okay. Yeah.
Well, and it's crazy. It's minus odds at minus 170.
There's no I'd be shocked if they don't go 10-2.
They don't have a conference game or conference championship to dodge. They don't have any of the weird shit to dodge.
That
so.
USC could be for their playoff lives, I think.
But can I find 2 losses?
It's tough. I mean, they play Florida State at home in November, which is when you would want to play them.
Yeah.
I mean, what are their and the other one that you feel like their win total really hangs on is at Texas A&M to start the season.
I have them losing that.
Yeah.
But the question is I kind of have them favored in every other game because I think they're better than USC right now. So
yeah. And they'll get a decent turnout.
They play Army at Yankee Stadium. That
and they
could
play
be
and they play Navy at the Meadowlands.
That could be a tricky. Wait, did you? Is this correct? Are they going back to the triple option?
Yes.
Both.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So that becomes very interesting. A sloppy triple option team. We could see a lot of injuries right there.
But they have a bye week after Navy. With Army, they don't. But
all right. So Notre Dame's catching a point versus Texas A&M. Notre Dame is laying 9.5 versus Louisville. Notre Dame is laying 3.5 versus Florida State, and they are laying 3.5 against USC. This is a lot of confidence in this Notre Dame team. Am I missing something?
No, but to Colby's point, like I've been watching college football,
but the quarterback
for a long time. They anytime they come in with like massive expectations is when they fall in trouble.
Do we trust Riley Leonard?
To some degree, but is he gonna lose 2 games in the regular season? I think that's a pretty safe bet.
Yeah, who's beating him on the schedule? Honestly, like
Florida State.
Okay, maybe Florida State, maybe USC, maybe
a road
A&M.
trip to LA is weird. Road trip to Purdue.
No,
That's a strange one.
They're fucking horrible right now.
Yeah,
the worst team in the Big Ten.
I would say you need it's your losses can come from Texas A&M, Louisville.
But normally
USC
that happens on the road, man.
I'm just saying that's where the losses come from. Or who knows? Stanford, little physical battle there.
Stanford did get him a couple years ago.
4 losable games. Let's hope they lose 3, or they only need to lose 2. I'm on the under. It's very difficult for me to be on the over with Notre Dame when they're the same thing every year.
Wait, no, but I think if you're playing this, you play
the playoff.
I agree with you that they'll go 10-2. So I'll take the under too.
Yeah, I guess.
But to make the playoff, I think it's a slam dunk.
So basically, you're moving the win total down to 9.5, and you're laying -170. So I probably have. I would say that 9.5 should be priced probably more like -140, 150. But I like the angle.
I don't know if I think they could lose 3 games. Honestly, I think this Notre Dame team.
Can they make the playoff losing 3 games?
They might be the last team in.
Maybe because it's Notre Dame and they always get that.
I feel like if you go back and look at years
it depends
past,
on the 3, I guess.
3 losses. Like we've had years where the top 12 teams include 4 loss teams.
Yeah,
well, like last year though, like LSU had 3 losses, they would have made the 12-team playoff.
Yeah,
that's what I think. Like I don't. How many 3-loss teams are going to make the playoff? I think there's going to be 1 or 2, right?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Now, would you bet?
And it's going to either be from a big conference or Notre Dame. So I'm thinking Notre Dame under 10.5 all day.
Yeah. The problem is if they have 3 losses, their schedule's trash. So
yeah, I don't think
that's a good point from Colby.
I don't think they would get in with 3 losses. I think they got.
Yeah, I guess because of
they just got to
who
win
would their losses be.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like when you look at that,
their best case scenario for their losses is that they lose at A&M and A&M's good, and they lose at Florida State, and Florida State's really good.
And they would need they need A&M to
they could be 2 of the top 10 teams in the country.
Yeah.
That's not crazy. But yeah, under's more fun. So are any interest in, as an Irishman, any interest in the Notre Dame national championship price?
No. At 22-1
it seems like they're offering some false gold at the end of the rainbow here.
Yeah, I don't know. I 40-1 maybe could talk me into it, but they'll be solid. But I still think that this Notre Dame team is classic. Like they mess up a couple regular season games. Yeah, assuming they make the playoffs, I mean, I don't think there's any value into betting them 22-1 right now because I don't when the playoffs start. I think there's probably a good chance they're going to be in that range anyway. I don't see a scenario like if they go undefeated. Yeah, then you're like, oh, I should have bet it when it was 22-1.
Bet them after they lose to A&M.
Yeah, that's the other. If they lose to A&M, you're going to get a much better price on both make the playoff and conference championship. And if they beat A&M, I don't think it's going to change that much. If you like if you like the over, or if you like, if you like them, I was going to say to win the ACC, but if you like them to win college football playoff or to make the playoffs, just bet it after game 1. I think
that's a great idea for a graphic, Colby. Where on every team's schedule should you bet them to win the national championship to get the best price?
I do like that. I do like.
You have some fun ways to play with never in that as well.
You know what I have fun doing? Sign it up for Circa Survivor, Circa Millions. First off, you got to love a contest where you got to sign up in Las Vegas or Reno. Great excuse to take a trip between now and when the NFL season kicks off. Sign up, get out there, get the road to 10 million. 10 million guaranteed prizes in Circa Survivor, 6 million in Circa Millions. Circa Millions, you pick 5 NFL teams against the spread every week. You know how it goes down. 16 million they're giving out. Derek not taking a penny, not seeing one silver dime from it. And it's very easy. All you got to do between now and football season, head over to a Circa, sign up, and we got a deal on a proxy too. They're the guys you hire to put your picks in every week. Footballcontestproxy.com, promo code SGP, get your $50 off your proxy fees. Get in on the contest weekend. We're gonna be out there. We're gonna be out there a bunch this summer. So hit us up at Gambling Podcast, crack some cold ones, sign up, and you're good to go. Also, Underdog Fantasy, dog days of summer, and the dog days of summer are great over on Underdog Fantasy because you can be drafting your fantasy football teams, get in Best Ball Mania, $25 entry, 15 million in guaranteed prizes. Get that sweet deposit match on sign up, underdogfantasy.com, promo code SGPN. Get in on all their pickup specials, underdogfantasy.com, promo code SGPN.
All right. Now that we're done with the honorary member, we're back into real members of the ACC, like Pittsburgh. Lots of tradition there. 2-6 last year. As Colby mentioned, Narduzzi's seat is very high.
Now, was he one of the coaches he predicted might die or get
no?
fired?
He's too young.
Oh,
he's too young. But
fired.
I mean,
well, nothing's guaranteed, Colby.
Yeah, that's actually a fun game. You can play die or fired.
Yeah, die or
what
fire.
happens first? 3-9 overall, not very good. 5.5 is the total this year. -15 on the over, -105 on the under. 120 to 1 to win the conference. 1,000 to 1. They're in the dumpster with everyone else to win the national championship. If he gets fired, is it a positive or a negative? Narduzzi, that is.
I mean, Pitt is one of these teams that always is super, super talented. Like as far as like guys that always like end
D lineman always coming out
everything.
Of
like Revis was on some bad. Pitt
So would you
teams,
say in the
Fitzgerald.
Narduzzi years they've underachieved or overachieved?
Well, one year when they won the ACC they overachieved. But I always look at Pitt as like a team. Historically they've produced some of the best players in NFL history. You could do like an all-time team and say, they could beat anybody. And I've always they should be a lot better. Like the past, I think part of it is when they destroyed their home stadium on campus in the year 1999 to move to this thing. It's like 30 minutes away. So they only pack half the crowd or 15 minutes, whatever it is, 20 minutes away. I think that's hurt them because it's just before they used to have one of the best home field environments in college football. And maybe that's some of it, but the amount of talent there, the state of Pennsylvania is like an underrated state for football talent. And
is it underrated?
I think it's underrated. I think most people think of like the Northeast.
Oh, I think Pennsylvania is one of the top states. Like it's in the Big 8. It's in the Big 8 with like the Texas, California, Florida, Ohio,
and Western Pennsylvania. And you're
Georgia.
right there with Ohio. You're right there next to Ohio. So it's like, remember Bob Huggins didn't know where he was at. You know what I mean? Like that. He was in Pittsburgh, but he was in Ohio.
I mean, Western Pennsylvania. That's a lot of quarterbacks came out of there, Colby.
Oh yeah. Beaver Falls, Joey Namath. But this is one where, I mean, I feel like I've always said it's a sleeping giant. It was a giant once, it just hasn't been in a while. Back
Curtis
when they had,
Martin.
Yeah. Back when they had Mike Ditka and
Tony Dorsett,
Marty Schottenheimer and everything. But yeah, they got their work cut out for them. But I'll tell you this, it's another great schedule. A lot
of soft schedules on this side, on the B side.
What's their toughest road? What's their toughest game on the schedule? It's Clemson, but
we Nate Yarnell fans.
He was all right, but I'll tell you this: I'm a fan of any team that brings back all 5 starting offensive linemen, and they do that.
They do seem like a team. I don't know. To me, to your point, Colby, I guess they've underachieved under Narduzzi, but I also think, I guess just from doing these win totals every year, I feel like they've been kind of a decent bet because they come in with that already baked in of like, it's Pitt. They're never going to do anything. And they eke some overs against their win totals.
Like the year they won the ACC,
yeah,
they lost at home to Western Michigan.
Yeah.
You can't do that. You know what I mean? That sums up to me like the Narduzzi era. Like they're a really physical football team. I always say like if you're like Florida State or Clemson, you never want to see Pitt on your schedule because Pitt is the one team that will actually, has guys.
So
and they will bang too. Like that they're a physical fucking hard hitting football team.
He's Narduzzi's been there since 2015. Only 2 years. Did they have a losing conference schedule?
And I do like what he did. Like he hired Kerwin Bell's the head coach of Western Carolina, former Florida Gator quarterback, and he played in the CFL and NFL. But his son was running the offense for Western Carolina, Cade Bell. That offense was very dynamic, like Dan Marino's wife. And
well, I mean, they were 3-9 last year, and Phil Steele has his like stock market indicator of regression stuff. Pittsburgh is second in the nation in that, and so you would expect them to win more than 3 games. But again, they won 3 games last year. The win total being 5.5, I guess, makes them somewhat interesting. But I don't.
But even
think
with
they have
that,
a massive ceiling.
They won 3 games, but they whooped Louisville's ass. You know what I mean? Like that's what I mean. Is like they.
Yeah, I don't think the 3-9. I think they were better than that. Now, can Narduzzi right the ship? Or to your point, if they get out to a slow start, he might be fired mid-season, as you've been pointing out. Will most likely live.
I think they'll fire him at the end of the year though, because he did win a championship 3 years ago.
They'll give him a proper burial. They won't shoot him in the face. But what is the thesis behind never lay points with Narduzzi? Number 1 on my thou shalt list, by the way.
Well, I mean, we talked about Mario Cristobal's in-game situation. Pat Narduzzi he's I think a former linebacker, if memory serves me correct.
Yeah, that's why this team always has that 1 game or 2 games when they completely trip up.
I want to remind Sean. I don't think he remembers this.
I don't think.
I think we were in Vegas.
I don't remember.
Pat Narduzzi and Pitt were at Penn State, right? They were playing at Penn State, and he was down 7 points with the ball.
You can tell this was a bad beat.
With the ball on the 2-yard line on a 4th and goal with 1 minute and 40 seconds left. And he kicked a field goal.
I do remember that, and I think they covered. I think they actually covered because of that.
Yeah, dude.
They asked him afterwards. He's like, "Yeah, we thought we'd get the ball back." It's like, "There's 1 minute and 40 seconds left. What are you talking about?" I'll take the 3.
He was trying to cut it to 1 possession.
It was a 7-point game.
Yeah, he was cutting it to 1 possession. I said nothing about the current state that it was already 1 possession.
One of the best.
Anytime you can take a 1 possession game, keep it a 1 possession game, you do it. You jump on that opportunity. No, Narduzzi has his flaws, but 5.5 is very low for a team with some talent on their roster.
Well, I love them returning their whole offensive line, and I actually think bringing in that OC.
UVA at home.
Yeah, the schedule's really nice. They got hit a little bit on the defensive side of the ball in the portal, but I never worry about that because Narduzzi just I think he keeps a stable of good defensive linemen and linebackers.
Yeah,
you see him go to the NFL every year, then like the next year you're like, who the fuck is this?
And a lot of times it's like guys like Kalijah Cansey, which he was not highly touted coming out of high school. It's got. I mean, I don't believe Aaron Donald was highly touted.
I don't think so.
He was a second round pick.
That's what I'm saying. They just keep guys. They keep guys.
Aaron Donald?
No.
Oh no, he was
picked a couple picks before Beckham.
Why did I think he was
or after?
No, but he was not a big recruit.
But I wouldn't be surprised if he was a lower recruit coming out of high school.
The schedule, look, I mean, the non-con starts off home to Kent State. They're horrible. They're one of the worst teams in all of college football in the FBS.
Love Max.
That's a win. At Cincinnati beat them last year, upset them. I do think Pitt is better than Cincinnati right now. I got them 2-0. And then comes the 107th backyard brawl. This game, I have no fucking idea. So
true toss up,
very losable. But Aaron Donald, by the way, was a
13th
3-star recruit.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Then you have Youngstown State.
Count that as a win.
So that's what I'm saying. They could be very well be 4-0 there. That West Virginia game is going to be bonkers like it always is. But
I like West Virginia in that game.
The home teams won the last 3.
Yeah.
But my point is, even if we said 3-1, then what? After
UNC,
after the bye week,
home.
yeah, those are winnable games, man. I mean, I know we like the 1-1. Let's say 1-1 there. That's 4-2. Then another bye week. That would be one flaw is that the bye weeks are too.
It's some of these schedules. Yeah. It's like, guys, we have easy to use AI now. Can we do better at this scheduling and not have the bye weeks 3 weeks apart?
I wonder if it has something to do with that stadium being,
maybe
like if they don't own that stadium. That's what I'm saying. Like they
got to get time.
Yeah. But then on a Thursday night, they're home to Syracuse. Very winnable at SMU. Look. SMU is kind of like a finesse team. I think Pitt could be the type of team to really give SMU some problems. Virginia at home and then Clemson at home, which I like them to upset Clemson there, and then at Louisville, which is their toughest road game of the season, and then at Boston College. But when you really think about it, like there's no game that they can't win on the schedule. Now that doesn't mean they're going to be 12-0, but I'm just saying like I like the over just because I do think they could beat every single team on the schedule.
So bringing it back to Sean's question about the quarterback, he was a top 25 pro style quarterback per 24/7, and was potentially ended up at Pitt because of his injury senior year. So,
all right, I like that story.
Maybe he's got a little.
They also brought in the Alabama backup from a year ago, Eli Holstein.
Okay. Holstein's always a good name. A type of cow, actually. If I went to a land grant school, so big time ag shit.
I think over's the play, though. I do think they go bowling. I think Narduzzi saves his job.
Yeah, 6 wins.
This is a very low number.
Yeah. It's weird.
He would have to be trash, and he's like a junior or something like that.
But let's talk about this. They get Clemson at home. There's no Florida State.
Yep.
There's no Miami.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to beat Clemson.
Right?
They're going to win 6 games.
There's no NC State, who some people from a win total perspective is ranked there, or Virginia Tech.
Yeah, they miss all the good teams. Because what did we say? We said that the top 6 in the conference per the odds are Florida State, Clemson, Miami, Louisville.
They get Clemson and Louisville,
NC State, and Virginia Tech. Those are the top 6.
2 of them. They get 2 of them.
That's not bad.
And I love them getting Clemson on November 16th because it's going to be cold.
Oh, I know. They're going to beat Clemson. Circle that one. Well, what did we say the number was in that one?
That I don't.
By the way, Pitt is laying 23.5 against Kent State. If you wanted that number,
lay it.
Catching 4.5 against West Virginia. I don't see the number for the.
I'll take the points. I'll take the points.
So we're all in the over.
All on the over.
Lock it up. Kramer over.
New baby bitch comer to the ACC.
Oh wow.
We'll do whatever you want. We won't take any money. Please just let us in. Please just let us in. 9-0 last year in their whatever conference. 11-2 overall. Please let us in. Please. They are the perfect fit for the Illuminati conference to expand into Texas.
They're going to save the ACC because
they got the death penalty and came back. They're bulletproof.
They announced, Sean, that they were going to the ACC. I think it was in August.
Yeah.
If not September. It might have been September.
Yeah.
Right?
And the money guns came out.
Dude, within like 3 months, they raised $160 million.
How much of it was private equity?
Fucking insane.
From the Middle East.
It is funny thinking of Sheiks. I must get involved in SMU football.
We need that damn quarterback from Georgia.
I know that's not anywhere close to the accent, but just like,
I thought it was a dead ringer.
I read Phil Steele. He said they are stock market indicator going up. We must buy.
Actually, that's a funny premise. Is Phil Steele is getting flown over to Dubai to Phil? Oh, we got
to. Sultan wants to meet Mr. Steele.
We got to ask him if they've reached out.
Yeah, where should we dump our oil money? Well, you see here, I think Syracuse due for some positive regression. Buy.
The New Boulevard Collective. Is that the name of the?
That's something shady.
In case
Shapiro
people
operating that one.
In case people don't realize this, the most that we have on now private schools, we don't have. They don't withhold this. So, what do you
mean? They don't have to declare what they've raised.
Yeah. I can't talk. But the most we've seen is A&M number one in the nation, raised like $150 million, or no, it was like $140 million because SMU in 3 months got $159 million.
Yeah.
What were those people doing with that money before?
Yeah.
Like, wait, I can invest in SMU football.
I honestly think it makes him the most interesting program in the country moving forward.
Yeah, but I mean, I understand putting like 10, 20 bucks, hey, $100, get my team a jersey, but like massive investments, there's no return.
All right, so
I mean, why are we not opening a college?
This unprecedented
what do you
achievement
get out of it?
Underscores the unwavering support and commitment of the SMU community. If it turns out to be from the Middle East, that will be pretty fun. Alumni and supporters towards advancing the university's athletic programs. This landmark fundraising year was punctuated by the unprecedented $100 million donated in just 7 days following September 1st announcement of SMU joining the conference.
Think about that. This is just based on last year's taxes. So that's not that stops on January 1st or December 31st.
These transformative gifts came from the newly formed First Week Society, which sounds even shadier. Definitely Illuminati. A collection of 30 individuals whose generosity launched a $125 million campaign to support the department's transition to the ACC.
I'll say this: this is the beautiful thing.
Society.
This is why college football is incredible, because Texas said, "Hey, we're going to go to the SEC." The SEC's planning all these other things. NIL becomes legal.
I got more numbers. A record 4 8-figure gifts.
What? Oh my God. I mean, I realize there's a lot of money in oil, but how are there 4 separate people willing to donate $10 million plus to SMU football?
35 7-figure gifts.
If you know the history, Pony Express.
Imagine being one of the guys who donates like $5 million. And you don't even have like the most juice at SMU. You're like, hey, can I get field passes? Sorry, man. Maybe we can get you in for the Boston College game.
82 people.
I can't get field tickets. I gave you fuckers $5 million.
So four individuals donate or organizations donated 8 figures. 35 donated 7 figures, and 82 donated 6 figures.
Even 6 figures.
If people aren't familiar with like the Pony Express, Eric Dickerson and Craig James and Michael Carter and Jerry Ball, this team was loaded in the 80s with Ron Meyer coaching, and they bought a bunch of players, and then they got in trouble for it. But the irony is, if you do a real deep dive on this, is that A&M and Texas were buying players, and they're the ones that kind of had a lot to do with dealing them the death penalty. So for years they've been quiet. This is what I just love about this era now, is you have this program. So Texas moves to the SEC, but all of a sudden in the midst of that, they announced that before we knew NIL was going to happen, right? NIL becomes legal. And then you have this is a sleeping fucking giant, truly a sleeping giant that could just set college football on fire.
Cell activated.
Yeah. I think it's so great for the sport. It's so great because you think everyone's thinking, well, Texas is going to come in and dominate. You bring in all this money, you're going to own the state of fucking Texas. You can go toe to toe with the University of Texas, believe it or not. If you're bringing in that much, you just brought in 3 months. You just brought in that much money. It's fascinating.
Well, and we have seen this before, where like it's just a 1-year spurt, so it can.
This was a 3-month spurt.
Yeah. It's funny. I was trying to dig into the Texas A&M stuff, and there is Texas A&M put out an article called "Correcting Misinformation About Our University." Sounds like someone might be guilty.
They're the most interesting team in college football.
All right,
dude.
so
they're must watch every week now. Moving forward,
they were good last year. Their total this year is 7.5, -175 to the over, +145 to the under. 18-1 to win the conference, 300-1 to win the national championship. So I assume this unlimited money bought them a roster.
Yes, they went out and very active in the portal. They also have 5-star quarterback Preston Stone, former Alabama running back Jalen Knighton. They just have a.
Aren't like, to me, my instinct is just to fade a team like this moving up in conference. you know, because it's to your point, like, yeah, they brought in all this money. Can you really turn it around? And not that they were a bad team, but they dominated the American Conference.
Yeah.
Now you're going to the ACC. It's a big jump up. I don't know. My instincts are just to take the under.
You know, the schedule. Let's take a look at the schedule because I think
is the schedule nice.
It could be. Nevada's not any good. Houston Christian's not any good. BYU. I love the Mormons against the Methodists. Please.
Oh wow,
It's fantastic.
Is that a thing?
College football keeps.
Is that a
doing this.
rivalry?
No, but it should be. Keep doing it. Is my point.
They're bringing it off the field onto the field.
Then you got one of the last battles of the Iron Skillet on September 21st with TCU. That's a hard schedule right there, though. BYU, TCU, because the TCU game, even if their records are, you know, if TCU's winless, it's still a crazy game. Then Florida State and Louisville. That's a tough 4-game stretch right there. So yeah, I would say right there they should be. That's my biggest question is Rhett Lashley. I don't know that he's a great football coach.
It's a great football coach name.
So the jury's still out on him to me. Last season they dominated, but they had the weakest schedule to me in the AAC. So we were all over SMU.
Yeah,
over.
That's like a complete like pendulum swing, and we saw it in the Big 12 last year. Even the teams that we think are good struggled.
But the backside of this schedule is very nice. Stanford, Duke, Pitt, Boston College, Virginia, and Cal. I mean,
whose schedule?
It's at Stanford though.
True.
Boston College, the Eagles could be a little tough. Cal at home, that's a win.
We need to just the idea of Colby looking at the backside of a schedule.
Nice
girl name schedule.
Well, also, I mean, they're not playing. They do miss some of the top teams.
I'll take the over.
You got to realize the other heavy Illuminati schools too will be up. So the Stanford Duke back to back, that's going to be a tricky one.
I'm going to go under. I mean, I see the case. I think I'm probably going to be betting on SMU in some spots, but I'll take the plus money on the under 7.5 with the idea that I just think my instinct to fade teams coming into the conference, I'm going to stick with it, especially a team like SMU that's coming from a sub conference and stepping up.
They're laying 24 week 0 against Nevada.
Yeah.
That's in Reno. Little elevation, secret elevation spot.
What you like that one? You taking the point?
I probably would. I mean, Nevada's breaking into. Actually, yeah, give me the points, I guess. But Nevada's breaking in a brand new head coach. That's his first game.
I mean, they generally say
sprinkle a little on the money line, right? Colby?
No, not at all. Not at all. I'm just thinking 24. I guess I would lean towards the points, but
it's a lot of points.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, new conference adjustments, easiest schedule last year, slightly easy schedule this year, but
I think if you like them now, either wait till the win total changes to 8.5, or you know, sprinkle them to win the ACC or something like that. If you play the ceiling outcomes of the SMU teams or SMU team.
Yeah, the ceiling is they will find their way into the conference championship, and you can have a piece of 18-1. But even that doesn't seem like a good enough price. Next up, Stanford. My Stanford is my favorite new team in the conference. Like, what was the point?
Nerd.
What was the point of that? This is how you know the Illuminati is true. They got Cal. You don't need Cal and Stanford.
Oh, SMU had George Bush calling on behalf of the university. He didn't even go to the university. The fuck is that? That's how you know it's oil money, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Oh, I'm just all of a sudden interested in SMU's football.
Yeah.
Oh, are you?
They called in that favor from the fucking Gulf War, and they're like, look, your dad owes us a favor. All right.
Hey, SMU helped take down the towers. Oh shit, we shouldn't have said that aloud. George Bush owes you. Why? Who and why does George Bush owe favors to an SMU?
Yeah, I don't know, but that's what I'm saying. And
more questions than answers.
They're behind the JFK thing too. Stanford is an interesting one. 3-9 last year. Troy Taylor, though, I am kind of sold on him being a very good football coach. So the win total is what, 2.5? What was it, 3? Something like that.
The win. Oh. So yeah, I didn't actually say anything other than Stanford is my favorite new team in the conference.
That got Colby fired up.
2-7 in the Pac-12 12 last year, 3-9 overall, 3.5 is the win total. This is the basement of the ACC, -140 to the over, +115 to the under. So just like the Big 12 and the SEC, I think the lowest total adjusts to 3.8, 500 to 1 to win the conference, 1,000 to 1 to win the national championship.
They have a ton of returning starters.
They do,
and it's year 2. Like I'm on the over. I like the over a lot, actually.
I would look towards the over, but this schedule for this Stanford team is kind of tough. There's 2 back-to-back road spots. You got at San Jose State as a non-con game
to end the season. You'd rather play San Jose in the beginning of the year too, because they're breaking in a brand new head coach. But I don't care. Like I still think these teams are better than their records because they were in the Pac-12 last year. Like,
yeah, no, I mean that's fair. Like coming down from the Pac-12, I think is a little tougher handicap than coming up from the American. 3.5 is pretty low. Like you can get this over without being a great team, but to that point, who would you say are their guaranteed wins on the schedule, Colby? Cal Poly.
Cal Poly is probably the only guaranteed win, but I mean, I think they could also, like I think TCU's a toss-up game. I think Syracuse could be a toss-up game. I think
I don't know about in Syracuse. I think that's a tough.
I'd watch out if I was Virginia Tech. I think that could be a dangerous game.
Whoa.
Kramer, are you gonna make the trip up to Stanford?
Yeah,
I think that would be
tickets are available. That's the other thing. Stanford, no home field.
Tickets are free.
My daughter is interested in checking out the school. Maybe we'll go up for road trip.
Let me ask you this question: is there any flat out loss? Clemson probably, right? Because they won the last time they played in South Bend. Just food for thought, Marcus Freeman did lose to Stanford.
Yeah.
A
little physicality. I don't know. I mean, it does seem like I already have one over.
They're not that bad.
Can't have another over.
Give me the over.
No, I like the 3.5 is pretty low.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they could eat.
You feel good about
best case scenario? Colby? They always have good quarterbacks, from fucking Jim Plunkett to John Elway.
Ashton Daniels.
They always,
If they're a great school, so you're gonna get that certain class of person that wants to live a life and play football.
All right,
like Andrew Luck.
I'll take over 3.5, but I'm not locking this piece of shit up.
Dude, you want to build the best case scenario? They could win a lot of games on this,
but they could also win 2 games.
Man, I think they're better than what.
All right, I'll trust you. You are the college football expert, Colby. I'm just here for the ride. Just a pretty face.
I mean, they got to fix some of the defensive problems from a year ago, but it's year 2. I think that they're going to know what he wants off, because there was a bit of a shift from a philosophy standpoint. Like he throws the ball around a lot more than previous coach David Shaw. So yeah, I just think they're going to be better this year. I'll take the over.
Yeah, I think you have to. And sorry, I got sidetracked reading about this Texas A&M thing. Oof, yikes! Syracuse.
Now here's a team
2-6 last year in the conference, and the alma mater of the great Tommy DeVito. Sean, I think we were somewhere rubbing elbows with folks, and we heard some pretty hilarious stories about a certain someone who might have given Tommy DeVito a tour of a university.
Oh yes,
it sounds like he might be as much of a character as you can imagine.
She was a female, and he was interested.
I still have not reached out to him about his Fugazi jersey.
Fake jersey ripped you off.
Now I'm thinking I'm going to wait till training camp.
Okay,
better timing.
Don't want to disrupt the flow.
Well, I know I kind of do want to disrupt his flow. I'm pretty.
Do you think he still has a shot to start this year?
No. I think he's actually going to get cut. That's why he was signing jerseys not with the Giants logo on it. 7.5 is the Syracuse total this year. The Boeheims are not playing any positions on the football team, unfortunately. +115 to the over, -140 to the under, 48 to 1 to win the conference. Sean, 600 to 1 to win the national championship.
This could be the outrage. This one this one's gold. This one is because this is the best schedule in America, not the ACC. This is the best schedule in America, and you got a brand new coach coming in from Georgia, who obviously Kirby Smart. If he's been following Kirby Smart around, maybe we got something going. And then he brings in a shit ton of transfers from Georgia. He brings in Kyle McCord from Ohio State, Fadil Diggs, who's a stud defensive end from Texas A&M.
They're not going to put up with the crime up there in Syracuse.
1 year,
They say,
just 1 year, and then they're done.
Athens.
I mean, I think this is one of the most interesting teams in college football this year.
You've said this about a lot of teams.
Well, they're starting to care about football because they realize the writing's on the wall. They realize that, look, you were getting by off of just bullshit. You had this long ACC deal. Now you realize that you might get left behind. You're going to end up in the just what, the Big East and independent as football. You know, like there's a real problem there, and I think they're showing interest.
Kyle McCord in a dome. This kid's going to be lighting it up.
This schedule,
24 touchdowns, 6 interceptions in the Big Ten.
It doesn't get better than this schedule, man.
I mean, this
Why
schedule.
do you like Syracuse so much?
I don't know. I gotta like someone. Syracuse.
It's the best schedule in college football.
Yeah. Colby and I had a conversation before the podcast, and he sold me on
There
this.
we go.
Look at this schedule, Kramer. Ohio at home, win. Georgia Tech at home, win. Stanford at home, win. Holy Cross at home, win. At UNLV, win.
No, empty crowd.
Empty crowd. They know how to win in domes. At NC State, that's a win.
No, that's the loss.
Okay, that's a loss. At Pitt.
They got a bye week before at Pitt.
But yeah, so maybe they have a shot. They either beat Pitt or NC State. one loss so far. At home against Virginia Tech, win. At Boston College, win. At Cal, win. UConn, win. Maybe they lose.
No, but
Miami.
I don't think maybe they lose. That puts the pressure. Dude. Let's say they lose to.
They're going to be 10-2.
That's what I'm saying.
Worst case scenario.
Let's say they lose to NC State. We could even give them a second loss to Virginia Tech or Pitt.
Yeah.
Right. That would then mean if they beat Miami on the 30th, they would play for the ACC championship based on what we've done so far.
So let me take you to the next level where Sean will go order his McCord jersey after he learns this bit of information. He's a Jersey kid, and he went to high school at St. Joe's in Philly, where actually he played with Marvin Harrison. I did not know that.
Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yes, Marvin. Yes.
Yes, sir.
That's the craziest part. It's like, damn, Marvin Harrison Sr. still lives in fucking the Philly area.
Yeah, why not?
Where he, did some stuff allegedly.
Friendly law enforcement in that area.
Well, I mean, again, no need to have a problem.
You can Google it. Do your own Google.
Seems like things got sorted out.
DIG.
So you guys are both on the over for Syracuse.
DYOG.
And you really like the schedule, Colby.
Dude, look at the schedule.
The schedule is incredible.
As a hater, but tell me how the orange aren't.
I'd say that there's an underrated stretch at Pitt, Virginia Tech, at Boston College, at Cal. You have a lot of road games. I mean, even before the bye.
That's right before your bye.
But we just said if we have the other teams losing 3 games, it puts them in the hunt.
Sure. Oh no, 100%.
Give them 3 all lose all those 3 road games and Miami, you're still hitting the over.
Yeah, and there's a stretch. I don't think we've seen this, but yes, there's a bye in there, but there's a stretch where 5 out of 6 games are on the road. That seems like.
But look at those environments. UNLV is empty. Pitt is empty. Boston College is empty. Cal can be empty sometimes.
I think there's going to be a lot of Syracuse fans at the UNLV game. All right, I'll join you guys. I have no reason to create friction against Sean's Cuse. You go with orange.
Imagine the outrage. Imagine the outrage.
People.
If you're a Florida State fan, if you're a Clemson fan, if you're a Miami fan, when
they haven't thought this new playoff format at enough. No, there's going to be it's either going to be a tiebreaker situation to get into one of these conference championships or. Like what Colby said,
you're gonna have Syracuse, Louisville playing in the ACC championship, and they get a bye week.
They're gonna get
a bye week.
That's gonna be crazy.
Guys, it's just the college football episode this week. We'll have a segment where we just go over the tie for first in every conference.
We really have to because it's a shit show.
And we got 6-way tie at the top of the Big Ten.
I can't wait till November when I see how these big time fan base is so pissed off. Because of Syracuse's schedule, you know what I mean?
Like now that the coastal division doesn't exist to have the chaos, it will just spread throughout the whole conference.
Take that future. What is Syracuse to make the playoffs?
They don't offer it.
The second that drops, you jump on that because, like I said, if they get Clemson, okay, they lose the ACC championship. But if they get Virginia Tech or NC State or Louisville, They could win. That's a winnable game.
We'll
for
have
them.
to confirm this when we're out in Vegas, but I have heard from a birdie that some places plan on opening yes nos on every team around August.
Woo, let's get it.
So hopefully it's a little earlier so Sean and I can take advantage.
We're going to be out there a bunch in the summer again.
Yeah.
Come out for a contest weekend, get the open bar.
But I mean, if we were just to take the basics of like, all right, so of all the teams we've talked about,
what would Syracuse make playoff?
Well, that's what I'm telling you. So Iowa, who is 41-1 to win their conference, better conference, is 7-1 to make the playoff. And figure they factor Big Ten. They probably pencil in 3 teams versus 2 for the ACC. And so with all of that math sprinkled in there, I would expect Syracuse is somewhere in the 12, 15-1.
I think 20-1 because I don't think they're doing the ACC math. And Syracuse as a football program, if they don't get in, I don't know. I think they would still have to get in the ACC championship to make the playoff, right?
Yeah, but they could lose it in that scenario,
right? But then you could hedge out. You're 40-1.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're saying that's the price you would need.
I'm just trying to do math on whether
this is Louisville
I wouldn't
last
wanna,
year.
I wouldn't want to. I'm not really looking to play playoffs unless we're talking SEC or Big Ten.
To your point, I
like it better than the win total
because. I'm looking to play it in conferences that they're going to Colby's point, the committee is going to go out of their way to reward the SEC, the Big Ten, stuff like that.
I would just say SEC actually. Big Ten, I'm a little worried about.
I think it depends on the team.
Big
I think
Ten has a lot of bad teams. That's what I'm worried about.
But I don't think that's. Yeah, but like let's say Ohio State has 3 losses. I still think they would probably get in, right?
I don't think it's possible they get 3 losses, but yeah, I mean,
but I'm saying like I think they factor in the program a little bit.
Yeah.
It's
always crooked. It's always been crooked.
You know what's not crooked? Rhythm, baby. Sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. Head over there. Get started today. The place for AI sports picks and props. Get you set up. Dominating right now in the WNBA. And of course, golf. Golf picks and props. Again, cashing some nice top 20s, top 10s. Rhythm is the place to go. And you can already start building your own models for the NFL, college football. Never too early to get started here in the dog days of summer. Sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm to get started today. Get that free 7-day trial. Sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM.
Every time you say rhythm, I think about Cool Runnings.
It's hard not to.
It really is. It's the only Virginia, aka the University of Virginia, aka the university located in Charlottesville, aka the Wahoos, aka the Cavaliers. Very confusing. A lot of names.
The tiki torches.
All of them suck. You know what? You want to whatever you want to do out there in Charlottesville. Doesn't seem to reflect well. 2-6 in conference, 3-9 overall. In the battle of who got the better head coach hire when my Lord and Savior Coach Pry was hired, it seems like Virginia Tech is winning that war. I don't see a lot of excitement around the UVA program. I was very easily able to troll former members of the UVA team with graphics this offseason. 4.5 is the total. I got Nate pretty hard a couple times with they were like saying whatever his number was, it was that many days to football, and I just came in with a hard dig. Really changed the whole mood of the thread. Anyway, -110 each way on that 4.5. 170-1 to win the conference. 1,000-1. Are they still? Is there a chance UVA just drops down in D2? Maybe saves them. They don't seem interested in getting better. Colby can talk about all the great things they've done in the portal.
11th toughest schedule according to Phil Steele.
They do have returning production. I have to say that because I'm going to use it in a second here to talk about my Hokies.
Bring back their whole offensive line.
I always like that.
Tony Muskett, remember him from the FCS season. He was the quarterback at Monmouth then.
You think he's going to start over Anthony Calandria?
Calandria is a fun watch, guys.
He's a made guy.
That's the one thing I'll
say. Is that this
say.
year's strain? Or?
You know who he reminds me of is like, I don't know if you guys remember Mark Brunell when he was young.
No,
like, not in college. No.
he kind of reminds. He's just kind of reckless like that, but he's an athletic guy. But he was a freshman last year, and there were certain games where it really popped. He was a little reckless with the football, but he's a gamer. He's fun to watch.
Their schedule's fucking insane, dude. They have a ton of road games,
and they play Richmond, who makes the FCS playoffs every year, right?
Their schedule is. I'm not trying to throw shade, but they have road games. Basically, their entire every section of their schedule. They have tough road spots, and the schedule ends insanely tough.
And he's coaching for his life, by the way.
What's the optimism? Yeah, he lost the state. It's done. The ref came in. They're throwing the towel in. Look at the recruiting numbers in Virginia. It's over. It's undone. Whatever this fucking piece of shit Justin Fuente did in Blacksburg has been undone by Coach Pry. Anything
they got to start. In my opinion, if they're going to hit the over, they got to start hot.
So they got Richmond at home, then at Wake, Maryland at home,
rivalry
at
game
Coastal.
there. Yeah, and
on the teal turf,
they would have to start really hot. Like those are winnable games, but they're also losable games.
Yeah, it feels like
that's
2-2.
Sean, they're football games that are both winnable and losable.
A lot of UVA schedule historically. Normally you look and you say, wow, they're gonna lose every game.
Yeah,
the first 4 games are all winnable. They could be 4-0.
Boston College at home,
right.
Maybe. Louisville at home, no. At Clemson, no. UNC at home, maybe. At Pitt, at Notre Dame, that's not fun. SMU at home, that's going to be tough. With the look ahead to at Virginia Tech to close out the season. 6 wins feels like feels.
Wait, it's 5.5. I thought it was 4.5.
4.5.
Oh, 4.5.
Yeah,
it's 5 wins. To your point, if they go 3-1 those first 4, I think they got a shot.
They're going to lose their last 6 games.
They're certainly not going to be favored.
Now they actually have a history of fucking up North Carolina, but I'm with you. I'm on the under.
And they've beaten Virginia Tech once in the past 20
years. I favor Wake. Yeah, I know that. You can get that in again.
I mean, it's a ridiculous trend. Even Justin Fuente only managed to lose 1 time to UVA. I mean, it's not. And if you've ever been to their stadium, you didn't really bring it up like you brought up for other schools, but their home edge is 0.
And that stadium's awesome. That's the worst part about it.
Why you want to talk about a wine and cheese?
And they just don't know that they have a gem.
How big is Scott Stadium? Because it's basically the wine and cheese crowd you get at the Rose Bowl. If the Rose Bowl only held 60,000 people,
it's a great stadium too. They're cowards down there. You know
I mean, the whole hill and but yeah, they're cowards and it's in Charlottesville.
Well, I know this because you can't find a sports bar there.
It's because there's nothing but lawyers.
There's not any bar in Charlottesville that has a TV.
They don't watch. Go watch lacrosse outside like a normal person. All right, now there are a couple teams in the state of Virginia in the ACC. The other one, Virginia Tech, aka the Hokies, 5-3 last year. Coach Pry has them fixed. They're on the way. Kyron Drones, the offense, scoring points. They got the defense taking 6-6 overall. Showed up nicely in the bowl game. I don't give a shit what you say about Tulane State at the time, Colby. 8.5 is this year's total. Plus 150 to the over. Minus 180 to the under. 12-1 to win the conference. That price was much bigger earlier in the summer. 300-1 to win the national championship. That price was much bigger before I walked to the window multiple times. Fired shots at 500-1, 500-1, 400-1. No big deal. Kyron Drones plus 250-1 Heisman, 200-1 Heisman, 150-1 Heisman. Riding that bitch like that bull I talked about at Middle Tennessee State. Might have been the previous episode.
Sean, you know, like they're getting a ton of fucking hype this year.
I know that's the problem with Kramer and his Virginia Tech love. Anytime it's like this is the year, no way they're gonna blow it.
Well, if you throw out the bowl game, which because Tulane's coach had already left for Houston, and he took a bunch of his players with him, right?
You piece.
So they
of
basically
shit.
played Tulane's backups. If you take that out, this is a team. This is a team that went 6-6, but they didn't beat one team with a winning record. This is a team that lost to a bad Purdue team. They gave up over 7 yards of rush from Rutgers. Marshall got them in the Sun Belt. I understand it's great to have all those players back, and they are recruiting better, and they were. I thought they won the transfer portal, but I also think like, are we that insane to just all of a sudden think they turned some corner because they beat Tulane by a bunch of points in the rain in Maryland when they had half their roster out?
I'm not sure I like your attitude right now.
But the schedule is nice.
Oh, now we got a nice schedule.
You like the schedule for them?
I do love the schedule for them because the road spots. Well, with the exception of that road game to Old Dominion, which knowing their history, they will lose that game probably.
Fuck you.
Don't get stuck in the elevators this time. If you watched that a couple years ago at halftime,
pretty solid.
At halftime, the coaches got stuck in the elevators, so the game got delayed. But no,
Coach Pry's to save the day. Do they just use? We don't need the jaws of life, Coach Pry. You got this.
Yeah, he can do any sort of miracle work.
I'm with you, Colby. I'm sure Kramer's going to make a compelling case about how everything's fixed. They're back. They have Enter Sandman, but I worry about this Virginia Tech team with expectations. Coach Pry was doing yeoman's work, polishing some turds there, making it look good when no one expects anything. But now with the win total of 8.5
and no FCS game, if you're and kudos to Virginia Tech for their non-con, but you're playing Rutgers, 2 Power 5s, Vanderbilt, Rutgers, if you want to call them Power 5s, and then Marshall and Old Dominion at Old Dominion. You're also at Vanderbilt, and your fans can't even travel because half the stadium's under construction, which was genius by Vanderbilt. The schedule is nice though.
Rutgers at home, at Miami, at Stanford.
At Miami, there's no fans at Miami. So and Stanford. Look at all their environments.
That's going to be a hot game.
Do you remember
there's not one hostile
Do you remember
environment.
what Coach Bud Foster said to us about the cupboard being really, really dry 2 years ago?
Yep.
And Colby, you would admit they've recruited at a very high level over the past 2 seasons. They've hit the portal at a very high level over the past couple of seasons.
Yes.
They've bolstered a roster that was already starting to have show some results last year. They returned the most production in the country overall. They returned the most production in the country on the offensive side of the ball. Kyron Jones will be a legitimate Heisman. Right, if he plays like if the offense plays like they did down the stretch, and all the receivers came back because they wanted to play with this guy one more time. They got some dudes. This kind of reminds me of the old days, the Eddie Royal days.
I mean, the schedule is great.
They got the
schedule's great.
Like Colby said, road spots. What are we worried about? Is it Vanderbilt? Yeah. Is it Miami? Is it Stanford? Is it Syracuse? Duke? Yeah. Like which one of these riveting road football environments are you terrified of? Yeah, Syracuse is weird. They turn on the fucking electromagnetic device in the roof and it makes
Jim Boeheim's picking boogers energy is still there.
What game on like to Colby's earlier points about the big boys, they don't miss each other as much. And if it turns out that one of these teams that shouldn't have made it there ends up with 1 loss and gets into the championship game,
I even think 2 losses, because you're not gonna like all you have to do is just beat Clemson. You'll have the tiebreaker.
Here's a prediction I'll make. Miami is going to be embarrassed after that Friday night game. That look, do the Hokies have a meaningful home Thursday night? I know they play Boston College, and that game's going to be scary for me because of fucking douchebag Matt Ryan. But this Friday night game in Miami is going to be a team. It's going to sound like a Hokies home game.
No, you win.
Gobble,
and they are going to. That's
am
the
I
game.
Crazy that the I think Old Dominion is the craziest.
No, the scary game is the Stanford game because
that's true.
I do think that's a dangerous
They're going to beat Miami. That's going to be the catapult into the rankings. People talking about Kyron Jones for Heisman. Here's my prediction: Kyron Jones Heisman price officially drops sub 25 to 1 after the Miami game. That's my prediction.
Josh, make a note.
please make a note.
Hold on. I'm gonna add this into my calendar.
Yeah. Put it on your calendar.
We're talking Friday, September 27th.
No, so put in your calendar for Tuesday, Friday, whatever the Tuesday after Friday, September 27th. Okay. On that show, we're going to talk about what Kyron Drones Heisman price is.
So tune in October 1st. Kyron Drones Heisman odds.
Oh, this is going to be excellent. We need to do more calendar reminders.
Yeah.
So we actually follow up on things we say on the show.
25-1. Lock it in.
If you'd like to officially maintain the SGP calendar of things we say on the show, hit us up, podcast at sports.
All right, I'll give you the over, Ryan, since you gave my QC over.
I'll give you the over too.
The schedule's comically easy.
What? Hold on. Let's
just don't.
Also, let's not forget that Virginia Tech officially brought college football back when they played North Carolina.
When they lose to Marshall, don't let it ruin NFL Week 1. That's all I'm asking.
When they get,
I don't want negative Nancy.
When Marshall completes the sweep, they won last year.
Yeah, I know.
Right, so they win that home and home. But
I'll just never forget. I honestly opening Virginia Tech season openers to me. I've been to a bunch. Traveled to watch them play Alabama, Boise State, a bunch of these kind of fun. They're not pussies. They'll play anyone. Kind of games, but I'll never forget it might have been my first year living in California when they opened against LSU, and Virginia Tech had this phenom 5-star Elite 11 quarterback named Tyrod Taylor that was supposed to redshirt, but Sean Glennon sucked so bad.
That wasn't LSU. That was ECU, buddy. And ECU beat them 27-22 in Charlotte on August 30th. Cause that's what we do. We take down you cowards.
No.
You removed us from the schedule.
It was LSU.
We had a long.
It was 4 years previous.
We were supposed to be playing every year.
No,
and you guys are cowards for taking us off the schedule.
What you guys did on that day, after a tragedy happened on the campus of Virginia Tech.
There was a tragedy in Charlotte.
You low bar
when you come down there.
You low bar mouth breathing motherfuckers from East Carolina.
You lots down here with your fucking agriculture and all your nonsense. All right.
Newsflash: East Carolina is not a state.
Yeah. Okay. Newsflash. All right.
That's
put us on the schedule again. Put us on the schedule again. We'll beat you some more.
Happy to. I wish they would bring West Virginia and ECU back every year. Happy to. But yeah, no. It was LSU, and what I was gonna finish with that story was that is the drunkest I've ever been, because it's to this day I don't remember. I remember Tyrod going in the game and being like, "Fuck it, everything. Life sucks and everything."
Is that when you tried to bust my door down?
I have no idea.
What game was that?
I just remember drinking a bunch of Monster and vodka and saying, "I'm just going to black out."
Well, I think you might bust down this door when Diego Pissing Pavia pulls the upset week 1, Sean. We can still hit that over though. We can still hit that over.
We'll be all right.
I got Vanderbilt getting it done.
That's enough talk. Let's get through with this bullshit Wake team. 4 overs in one episode. I think I set the record, so apologies for that. Wake Forest 1-7 in the conference, 4-8 overall. 4.5 is the total this year. -140 to the over, +115 to the under. 290 to 1 to win the conference. 1,000 to 1 to win the Natty. To me, I would take Wake over Stanford and some of the other bottom dwellers to be the worst. And I think they're even worse than UVA.
Really, I don't.
So
they got a guy named Dave Clawson.
Yeah, you're right, but the roster sucks again. And he was 4-8 last year, and they had Dave Clawson last year.
I understand that, but his track record has been pretty damn good. And even if you look at that 4-8 season, you look at a 5-point loss at Clemson, 3-point loss to Duke, 4-point loss to Q's. They were better than their record. Give me the over all day. Hank Bachmeier coming in, former Boise State quarterback.
The offense is turning over a bit, so you have to have some faith that he's going to be able to manufacture offense.
15 returning starters, nice schedule for Wake,
but most of that's on the defensive side of the ball, if I'm not mistaken. They're like they're not even a top 25.
They build up their program, Sean. He calls it Dave Clawson calls it the incubator. So he has everyone waiting there in the incubator. He gets
they do seem like they're trending in the right direction. 4-8 season last year, them getting to 5 feels doable. You're laying a little juice, but yeah, I'm with you. Wake on the over. Kramer, what are you doing?
That's lazy.
Bachmeier can win 5 games.
He was in our College Madness thing or whatever.
NCAA, UVA, Raging Cajuns, all at home.
Colby
at UConn. That's 4 wins right there.
Colby, you're. Have you done the Wake preview yet?
No. But Dave Clawson is this one's again. Like I'm a Dave Clawson guy.
So you're not going to switch.
He's the guy that brought in Mike Elko. You know, like he's the guy. Like he's one of the best coaches in college football.
They start against Terrell Furman's NCAA Aggies.
I got them being 2-0 to start the season.
They got the UVA, which in fairness, you're right. They have UVA at home, so there is an edge there. But then Ole Miss
loss, maybe
the Raging Cajuns.
That's a win.
At NC State, Clemson, at UConn.
NC State games are always insane.
At UConn, at Stanford. That's
Wins.
a tough little
they
stretch.
They can win. So no one goes into the wrench and gets twisted, right?
Cal at UNC at Miami.
Duke, they can beat Duke.
Are you sure you want to stick to the over here, Sean?
Yep.
Under.
They could beat Miami.
Had to get one more under in.
Had to get one more under in.
1, 2, 3, 4.
4 overs though,
6,
Sean.
7 for the entire conference. So not as bad as you think.
That's pretty good. That's almost in the middle.
All right, time for lock and futures. Kramer, I'm going to just type in VT over 8.5 for one lock. Okay.
Future Hokies to win the conference.
All right.
Plus 1,200.
Okay.
Lock number 2. You know, I don't have a.
Oh, that's your future.
Yeah.
Future is lock. Okay,
I'm going backwards.
Okay. All right. Well,
lock number 1.
Don't look at me like I'm crazy.
What do you mean?
Lock number 2, or what do you want? Lock number.
I will. Lock number 2. We're gonna go under on SMU. I think just the conference jump. I know they spent a lot of money. I don't think that's going to get them to win 8 games in year 1 in the ACC. Lock number 2. Down goes UVA. Under.
Okay. For me, easy enough. Syracuse over 7.5.
Oh, that's a good pick too.
And then I also like Notre Dame under 10.5. Yeah, under Notre Dame 10.5. They'll be 10-2. 9-3.
I like that pick.
And then Syracuse to win the ACC 48-1. Let's get paid, baby.
Let's talk about this though, because so we have, looking at the whole thing. So we would have Clemson 9-3, right?
Yeah.
Florida State 9-3, but Clemson would have a loss to Georgia in the non-con, so they'd have 2 losses in the ACC, right?
Yeah.
Florida State. We have one of those losses being to Notre Dame, so they would have 2 losses within the ACC, right?
Yep.
Louisville, though, we're over on the 9, right? They can lose to Notre Dame, and they'd only have 1 ACC loss.
Oh boy.
Right. So Louisville would be ahead of them. If we're under on Miami, if we have them at 9-3, they could also be right there. And then
this is going to be a hilarious tiebreaker.
Virginia Tech and Syracuse, we have in that spot as well as potentially for me SMU, but also NC State.
So 8-way tie for first.
This is going to be great because
all right. So
I think I have my ACC championship if I'm going off this being Louisville and either Syracuse or Virginia Tech.
Oh, that's excellent. So you can take Louisville at 6-1, Virginia Tech at 12-1, and Syracuse at 48-1. That's a nice portfolio.
Juice. Colby, what are you doing? Lock us up.
Let's lock up what are we doing here? Let's go
Pussy Pack under.
No, I'm going to take the Pitt over 5.5 as a lock. I
almost locked that up.
Whoa.
I will also lock Stanford over 3.5.
Are you locking up Narduzzi to finish the season?
I think he makes a bowl. I think he makes a bowl, and they say it salvages his.
You
his
said
tenure.
like 14 times he wasn't. Every other schedule, I know Narduzzi's probably fired.
He could be. He could be.
We need a super cut of all.
Right, just like he could fumble. He could fumble. You know what I mean? Like, give me Stanford over 3.5 as the other lock.
Earth could be flat.
And then the future. The future is.
Shout out to producer Josh realizing.
Let's ride that Syracuse
Stanford
one shot.
Cardinal.
They're in a good spot.
Let's go,
really?
Orangemen.
Yeah. You could have taken Virginia Tech. I see what you're doing over here.
That Old Dominion game is pretty scary. I know.
This team is going to be so fired up.
Thank you everyone for tuning in. Check out part 1. Check out all our college football conference previews, our fantasy football previews, NFL team previews right around the corner. Check out Colby Dant, college football experience preview, and all 134 FBS teams.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
For Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean. Second the money green. He's Ryan.
Sean needs to get an orange Honda Accord.
Kramer, let it ride.